Alright, I guess since we had a big meme yesterday, everybody wants to meme now. I mean, not that I mind, I guess. So we're gonna talk to somebody called the Naked Ape. I don't know how this is gonna go, boys, but good luck. This guy is a dude. I don't know, he's got 16,000 followers, right? So he's like a real memer. Destiny, I beg you, please do not debate Naked Ape. Oh, uh-oh. Hold on. I love you, Destiny. I love your debates, but I worry about your health a lot. You've faced many autistic challenges in the past. Wealthy blacks commit more crime than poor whites. They just need to get married. Cow farts are causing global warming. Egypt. All of these were spread out and were bad. However, if you debate Naked Ape, fresh out of a debate with JonTron, I feel you might gain some form of cancer. I'm not a doctor. I'm not pretending to be one. Wait, is he like super ultra... I've never seen any of his shit before.
This is the face of a man who has truly been emotionally devastated.
Liberals are losing the culture war. Bernie Sanders is a fucking moron. Alright, let's find out. Let's check this one, okay?
So you're dating a feminist, or you want to date a feminist, or you're considering dating a feminist.
No, no, and no. The answer to the title of this video, you androgynous male feminist weirdo, is obviously no. Never date a feminist. But don't listen to me. Justin gives us enough reasons in his own video to never date a feminist. So let's continue watching, shall we?
Step 1, don't be a bigot.
And that's fucking step 1. We are less than a minute in, and this grinning monstrosity with a face firmly planted in Uncanny Valley next to a bearded tranny and a Japanese sex doll is accusing you of being a bigot. And somehow, he thinks this video will make people want to date a feminist.
Oh, shit. Oh, no. I don't know if I could do it. Are we gonna get anything of substance out of here, or are we making a big mistake, boys? You're giving him free publicity. Alright, I'll pull you guys. You guys can tell me. Oh, my fucking God. Oh, shit, boys. I got a message from, I just saw a message pop up my Skype from that Twitch admin, the last one that talked to me about, my last suspension. I thought I was getting permabanned. Oh, shit, I was about to lose it. But he said, thank you for your diligence with your language last night. Whew. 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 That was a close one. Alright, 60-40 split, boys. Oh, God, join the ape room. That's the name of the room. It's called the ape room. Wait, are you the dude?
Yeah, that's me. This is like how I go on Discord.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I didn't know if it was a random dude or no one. I don't know.
Yeah, no. I've done this before.
Prepare your anus.
I made this Discord so I didn't actually want to do a Discord for myself, but I did it so I could pretend to not be myself and troll other Discords. I actually went onto Colossal's crazy Discord and was I wasn't banned, but I was server muted for telling racist jokes. The one that got me was they started catching on, so they knew who I was. And like I am gay and I have a half black boyfriend, so I'm not racist. I have a terrible offensive sense of humor. But what he said is, "Hey, aren't you that white nationalist monkey?" And I was like, "Why would a monkey be a white nationalist?" And that's what got me. But yeah, no, this is me. This is my Discord. It's nice talking to you. I've seen you around. Not like a fan of your stuff because it's just too long for me. Like the streams, I can't handle it personally.
Yeah.
But I generally know of your character. So.
Gotcha. So it seemed like you were a little bit perturbed last night by some of the things I was saying to JonTron. So do you want to go over that or?
Well, I mean, there's really two things. It doesn't necessarily deal with JonTron's actual argument about, white displacement, because that's like an argument that I'm not really interested in. It doesn't necessarily interest me. What actually interests me are the two arguments that you made offhand. The one involving the economic the economic argument for migration, and the next one, your support for Black Lives Matter, and the specific quip that you put out there, which I found really hilarious. So those are the two that I kind of have something to say about. If you wanted to talk more generally about it, then we could, but I mean, it's just Now, those are the ones that I have opinions on, you know?
Sure, we can go over the first one. What are your opinions on what I said that you disagree with about the economic argument for immigration?
So I want to say, are you live right now or what's
Yeah,
up?
yeah, I am. Sorry, I should have.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I am.
cool. I didn't know. Did my white nationalist monkey joke get on air?
Love y'all, Andrew.
Yeah, I think so, but it
Yes.
should be okay, right? Yeah, we're okay.
Yeah, all right. So, what I had the problem with is you were arguing for mass migration using.
I don't think I was arguing for mass migration. I think I was just trying to argue against the idea that we need to like dramatically curb immigration based on the idea that we need to maintain like a white majority.
Right, right. Well, you were specifically arguing for an economic migration, saying that any increase in the GDP is a net benefit to the economy. And you saying that is basically you saying that you don't understand how GDP is calculated, or you don't understand what GDP means to the average person. And what I wanted to ask you is whose economy do you think is better, India's or the United Kingdom's, considering the fact that India recently kicked the United Kingdom out of the seventh largest seventh largest GDP in the world? Whose economy do you think is necessarily better?
Okay, so backing up a little bit. Firstly, growth of GDP does not concretely mean that an economy is growing for everybody. There are other ways to measure this. GDP per capita is one, but even that's not a good metric to measure it by. There are tons of other purchasing power, real nominal wages or whatever. Like, there's tons of different ways to measure these metrics, okay? I'm not arguing that GDP has grown, therefore the American economy is better for everybody. What I was arguing was that the entire American economy has grown, which I think can be demonstrated in different ways, and other economists seem to agree with that. So I'm not taking the argument that GDP growth period means economy is better for everybody, because obviously that would be asinine and stupid to say. I understand that. Secondly, the economic activities of Indonesia and the United Kingdom are going to be far different than what's going on in the United States. I do not have an in-depth knowledge of either of those countries, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you which one is doing better or why it's doing better. But I don't see how that's relevant to my discussion about immigration in the United States.
So that's the problem, is that you constantly deflect when you actually are given any kind of analogies, and it's something that I see often from you. And I'm going to say JonTron is not a good debater. This is
okay. Hold on, just because I have to go one at a time. Well, I got to go one at a time so you don't gishkel at me. You say that I'm deflecting on analogies. The reason why I'm deflecting on these analogies is because the countries that you're bringing up are not analogous for these comparisons. So
that's stupid. Again,
I know that you understand that, okay? But if you I have to finish my point because you're gish-galloping the fuck out of me, okay? So
you are interrupting me.
I'm not interrupting you. I'm responding to your first point about not using these other countries as analogies, okay? So if you read any economic literature or you read anything that economists put out when they're speaking specifically about things, one of the really important and careful things that they have to do when they construct arguments is to choose good cities to model economic behavior after. If you're trying to do a comparison of what is the economic impact of immigration in this city, when you compare it to other cities, choosing those controls is sometimes the most important part of the study. So when I'm trying to have a discussion about the impacts of immigration in the United States, and somebody wants to sidestep that and point out Indonesia or the United Kingdom, which are countries that face vastly different problems than ours, have vastly different economies than ours, and have vastly different ways of dealing with things than ours, I don't think that that's an accurate comparison. For instance, in the United Kingdom, you have free healthcare. I'm not gish-galloping. Okay, sorry. Response. Okay, so do you disagree with that assessment that these economies are vastly different than ours?
What I disagree is with your argument. So this is what you do. You deflect from my original argument to saying that the analogous is not applicable. And then you just go on this tangent saying facts, bring up facts that have nothing to do with the argument. My point was to say that, my original point was to say that measuring the growth of an economy by GDP is not an accurate way to measure economic growth.
I've already agreed with that, and I never stated that. I've agreed with that, and I've never stated that.
And again, all you're doing right now is this pointless self-flagellation in order to try.
Dude, Doug, you literally starting off by strawmanning me. Nowhere in any of my videos.
I understand that. Now listen.
No. You don't understand. You're literally making an argument against something that I've never stated. Never in any of my YouTube videos or Twitter or anything have I ever said if GDP grows, it's good for everybody in the economy. I have never made that statement in my life.
All right. Well, then now we can get into the actual point. And this is
so then for the actual point.
Stop.
But listen, I can't let you. No, I can't have you continue an argument where your premises are already majorly flawed. So we have to discuss the premises.
Shut up.
Do you think that the United Kingdom's economy is comparable to the United States?
Do I think that's a point that even fucking matters to the argument?
Yes,
No.
because you're trying to draw an analogy between the countries. They need to be comparable to do that.
Yeah, but the analogy that I was drawing was the difference between GDP and GDP per capita. Now you're just going off on a tangent trying to self-flagellate yourself, proving some pseudo-intellectual point that doesn't even have anything to do with my argument or the argument at hand.
Okay,
now,
your initial argument was against a straw man that I hadn't stated, and now
Yeah,
your
exactly.
second argument is that you should be able to
Now
compare the
you're
United
just
States to
beating the-
countries
and-
that are totally different than ours.
And now you're just beating the horse because, again, that wasn't what you said, and you're just, self-flagellating yourself. You're on some moral high horse, so shut up.
What are
Let's
we
get
are
to
not
the-
even talking about morality. What do you think moral high horse means?
I mean that you're trying to set yourself up on a pedestal. You're trying to gish gallop, and you're trying to argue a point that I'm not making.
You were making the point
Yeah,
specifically
and
that
I
we
conceded that was a straw man.
Wait,
Now,
okay.
if-
Are you
shut
conceding
up.
also that you can't compare the United States to the United Kingdom and Indonesia?
So we can't draw analogies to show basic economic truths.
What
You're fucking-
basic economic truths do you want to
The
talk
basic
about?
economic truth is that measuring GDP is not an accurate way of measuring growth in an
You
economy.
already agreed that that was a straw man that I wasn't making, though.
And now you're just going off on a tangent. So stop doing that. That's what you do. It's annoying as fuck. It just proves that you're just trying to just jack yourself off to your audience. So stop doing that. Let's go point by point and make this argument.
Sure
all
thing.
right?
What's the first point you
So
want to
now,
go over, buddy?
What is your? Well, that was the first point. Now that you've
Okay,
said
so
that.
now
is
that your
what-
first point is a straw man, what's your
What
next
is your-
point?
Well, what I want to know now that's a straw man. What is your economic argument for the benefit of migration?
It seems to grow the economy in a variety of ways that benefits most of the people living here.
Okay, name one.
Growth of the supply of labor decreases the cost of labor for companies. It means companies have to pay less for labor so that they can offer a product cheaper to people, increases standards of living because more people have access to cheaper products. That's one way that it helps the product market, I guess. Another way it can help the labor market is when a lot of immigrants move into an area, other workers have other complementary jobs that open that also increase, job opportunity for them as well. I mean, that's an argument from a job point of view. Overall growth of a country, the overall growth of the GDP, and the overall growth of the economy
Also, you're
creates
saying overall
benefits for other
growth of
people.
GDP is a part of your argument, so that wasn't a straw man.
No, I'm talking about the economy. I'm talking about the job market, and I'm talking about the cost of goods. I'm not talking about GDP. Nowhere in here did I say
just
GDP.
mentioned GDP.
No,
You
I
just
didn't
mentioned
say
that.
GDP. I
Overall
specifically
growth of the
spoke
economy.
about the job market, and I specifically spoke about the cost of goods. Okay, these
Yeah,
are two things that
job
are
market,
not
cost of
GDP.
productivity, all of these things do include are impacted. So what you're actually saying is you're describing in detail things that basically amount to the growth of the gross domestic product. And the
No,
problem
because
is,
it's possible to grow GDP without growing either of these things. You can grow GDP without having a positive or negative impact on the job market or a positive or negative impact on the cost of goods.
And how would that be?
What do you mean?
Like, how would you grow to GDP without either making goods cheaper?
I don't
or
know.
without-
Think of a way. GDP is just the collective cost of all the goods and services in a society, right? You don't necessarily have to make them. There's millions of different things that go into impacting GDP. I don't know, fucking real estate, there's a million different ways of raising price on something that could impact GDP that don't relate to these two specific things.
So without doing this gish gallop thing, which you do to make yourself sound intelligent, talking about these extremely detailed vaguities, can you name one actual economic number that migrants have impacted in a positive way that shows the migration is beneficial? A number
Sure.
that we
David Carr did a very specific study on the impact of supply shock of labor when a whole bunch of people came over from Cuba into Miami and analyzed the impact of wages there. And he found that over a trend of 10 to 15 years, there weren't really any massively horrible negative impact.
Yeah, that's actually not true when you're being disingenuous. I know that study, and that study actually showed that the instant impact was a decrease in the price of labor and the decrease of wages across the board for low-wage workers. However, after the sudden increase from the Cuban boat lift decrease, there was a gradual amalgamation into the regular economy. So you're basically just wrong.
Okay, what is your background in economics?
I'm not gonna tell you shit, nigga.
Okay, I'm parroting opinions from Borjas, who's one of the most respected immigration
and I've
economists
read
in the
that,
United
and
States.
I have read that study, and that is what it says, and that's exactly what you said.
So,
After
I'm telling you this right now,
there was a
okay?
decrease in wages.
If you're disagreeing with leading economists in the fields, I'm not smart enough
I'm
to
not
argue with you.
disagreeing with
You
it.
are
You are
though.
being
If you are
You are not
disagreeing
actually
with
read the
leading
study. And here you go, an appeal to authority. You don't know what you're talking about. You're disagreeing with leading economists. No, I am telling you, this is what the study said. The study that you didn't read, that you're just parroting.
I didn't. Okay, dude.
Yeah.
What
Well,
else
you want
do
to bring up the study? I can
yeah.
tell you.
I mean, what about it?
It's the Cuban boat lift after Cuba.
Yeah, I know about it. Yeah, I read the fucking study. I know about it, right? There is a
You read it.
small depression in
What you
wages amongst non-high school graduate people for some period of time, but over 20 to 30 years, most of those seem to disappear
over
completely.
20 to 30 years. And here's the difference. That migration was instant and small and stopped. It wasn't this continuous flow of migration.
Okay, but
So
it was
there
also
wasn't-
but it was a massive supply of workers. It was a massive supply of
a
workers.
massive
200,000
supply.
people being introduced to this economy. So a lot of people would have made the predictions that like, oh, well, the economy will collapse here. Low-wage workers will be destroyed for generations to come, blah, 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 blah. But for the most part...
Now you're just arguing against a straw man, because this is what you do. This is what people also do with, like free healthcare. Oh, Sweden isn't this wasteland. Sweden hasn't been destroyed by God. No. That's not the argument. Again, you're building up a straw man to slap it down. The argument is that migration depletes low-wage earners. That argument is true, especially when you talk about continued mass migration. So
okay, but I never...
Even if my point, you read wrong because you don't understand what you're...
So... even if your argument does have some truth to it, which it does, okay, massive immigration from low-skilled workers can have a detrimental on hyper-specific job markets, right? In the specific study we're talking about, we are talking about the average earnings of no high school graduate workers, okay, of a certain age group. There were net benefits for the economy that can be measured and are accounted for, right?
Okay,
the entire point... what?
Wait. Name the net benefit. Are you talking about GDP? Because we just had that argument.
How about cheaper labor for businesses?
Uh-huh. And what does that cheaper labor mean? That also means lower wages for low-wage earners. So you're basically repackaging...
I'm sorry, do you know how economics works? What are you talking about, dude?
Yeah, do you know how economics...
Hold on. I need you to take a break for a moment. Hold on. No. I need you to take a break for a moment, okay? If you were a business and you have to pay your employee like 50 million times as much as another employee, the cost of your final product is going to be higher. Do you not acknowledge that?
Again, what you're doing here is exactly what you do. What you do is you deflect from the point. You say something that sounds intelligent. It's just repackaging.
I'm sorry. No, what I'm telling you is really basic, ultra basic economic.
Excuse me. Let me finish my point. What you did was you said, you'll get cheaper wages. You know what? You get cheaper labor. What that also means is lower wages. So
are you for or against an increase in the minimum wage? Do you think a $15 an hour minimum wage is a good idea?
No, it's a fucking stupid idea.
It's bigger wages for everybody, though, dude. Why is it a bad idea?
Well, because it's distortionary to the economy. It doesn't.
What do you mean? And artificially stemming the supply of labor isn't distortionary? Why are these two things different? You're talking about artificially increasing the cost of labor by decreasing immigration. Why is that bad?
Because one of them is the market reacting, which deals with human, psychology and the basic market forces, while the other is an arbitrary wage, which is distortionary to the market.
Okay, so if you're an employer and you have to either hire a worker at 20 an hour because you have no pool of labor to draw from and nobody wants to come work for you because there's nobody there to hire, and you've got to pay $20 an hour to them versus the minimum wage goes up to 20 an hour, what the fuck is the difference of that to the businessman?
Well, I mean, the difference is where that money is going and who is enforcing it and how the
It's going to labor. What do you mean, where is the money going?
Well, is it going to Americans or is it going
Who
to
cares if it's who it's going to? It's going to labor.
Because
Why?
I'm an American, you douchebag.
And you're talking to me on a computer that you could afford. You probably have a cell phone that you could afford because it didn't cost $4,000 because it was manufactured in a country that can do it at much cheaper prices than we could in the United States. What does being an American have to do with artificially increasing the cost of labor?
Funny, it just is here. Just people on the left parrot these libertarian economic talking points whenever it's convenient. It really is, because it also shows how little you understand about the economy. Because here's the thing. Migration is not the same as free trade. They're just not the same. So when you were going on this tangent, we can't use Britain and India to show this economic point, but here you are using the same kind of analogy when it's beneficial to you. It shows the kind of arguments that you do. It shows the kind of disingenuous points you bring up.
You're calling my points disingenuous, and when I ask you, and then you literally say, and then you literally have the nerve to ask, you go, how does cheaper labor, what is that, how does that help a company? Do you have any idea how fucking retarded that sounds, dude? How does cheaper labor help a company, dude? Just because they have to pay a less wage, how is that helping the company at all? I don't know, dude. Get a fucking job and talk to your manager. Like, what kind of a...
This is why I wanted to argue with you, because I knew.
Because
I
you're
know-
gonna sit here and be smug as fuck without having any idea what you're talking about? How does
Look into
cheaper
a
labor?
mirror.
How does cheaper labor help a company,
you-
dude?
Because what you did was you just redefined lower wages as cheaper labor when it was beneficial to your argument.
Because
And
that's
how
what
this-
lower wages are, cheaper labor by definition.
Oh, so it's cheaper labor when you want it, but it's lower wages when you don't. Also, analogies.
Wait,
are good
what
when
do you mean? They're one and the same. Cheaper labor and lower wages usually go hand in hand. What are you talking about? If the wage is lower, the labor is cheaper. What?
Yeah, exactly. And you are only saying cheaper labor. You're not saying it's lower wages.
Okay,
You're-
lower wages. I'll use that word if you want. I thought we were talking about the same thing.
So
Let
you
me know
want
if I need to.
So you want Americans to have lower wages, and
It
you
de-
think that's beneficial for the
Not
economy?
necessarily. It depends on
Oh,
what.
there we go! Ha ha!
And if you would look at any of these economists that analyze these markets, you would find that just because you have a decrease in the cost of labor in certain things doesn't mean that the entire labor market is impacted. There are complementary jobs or positions
no,
and
of course
management
they
that may open up, okay?
Of
And you
course
also
not.
have a cheaper cost of goods at the end of the day to the average American person. If you're earning a little bit less, but everything around you costs less, that doesn't necessarily mean you're getting fucked. You're giving me this hyper one-dimensional view of economics. Like, I don't understand, like, what is your point?
Well, I mean, like, you're saying that it's beneficial to the GDP, to the average
I'm
person.
saying that it's beneficial to the overall economy. You can't misconstrue my argument and then say, don't interrupt me when I'm paraphrasing you.
Yeah, well, how about you be a polite person and don't interrupt me? If you'll not interrupt me, I'll stop interrupting you. Okay? Can we make that sort of like a generality?
Yeah,
Stopping
sure
a
thing.
douchebag interrupting me, I'll stop interrupting you.
Yeah, go for it, buddy.
So you're saying in general terms that it's good for the average person in the economy, which I'm going to say, like, using this as a number on the paper, the numbers on the paper work really, really well. The numbers going up, the stock market is inflating, whatever. That's a benefit to this person called the economy. Who it actually hurts is low wage earners. What it actually hurts is their ability to compete in the labor field. And you can say that, there are other management positions that would open up. Well, I mean, that's true with any growing economy. I mean, that's true with our economy right now. What the mass migration does is it continuously depresses wages over a long period of time. And maybe it's good for the 1%. Maybe it's good for the middle class. Maybe it's good for people who don't have to compete for construction jobs. Because, there are people out there who don't have to compete for construction jobs. Heaven knows I fucking don't. Heaven knows you don't. But who it's actually bad for is lower wage people. And I just think it's funny how somebody who's generally on the left is completely okay with fucking over lower wage people to benefit the economy because it suddenly benefits your political ideology to import millions of people.
All right, are you done?
Yeah, that's
Okay, so an intelligent person coming at this from the idea of growing the economy for everybody would take what you said, look at it, understand that parts of what you are saying are factually true. There are people that are hurt by supply shock to immigration, or by supply shock to labor markets via immigration, okay? There are low-wage workers that are hurt. Manufacturing in America has been hurt by the exporting of jobs to other countries, right? However, the intelligent person seeks to capitalize on the gains, of which you seem to not acknowledge there are any of, and then redistribute those gains to the people that are hurt to continue to grow the economy for everybody. This is what a sensible discussion on immigration policy is. It is not, we need to get rid of all of these people hurting low-wage earners, blah, 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 but it is instead, we need to find a way to redistribute the winnings from the people that benefit the most off of this type of immigration and redistribute those winnings to the people that are hurt most by it so that we can continue to enjoy lower cost of goods and a growing economy for everybody.
Yeah, but that's not how it works. You can't just do that.
How
And
can you not just do that? What do you mean? You can't tax people in certain ways to take advantage of certain types of immigration? You can't charge people a higher fee for H-1B visas or anything? These are impossible things to do?
I mean, you can, but it's detrimental to the economy because what you're talking about is like sort of I don't know the exact economic term, but so I'm going to use philosophical terms. There's a priori and then post priori. So I'm working in the a priori, which means before the money is made, before the exchange happens. You're working in the post priori. So the problem is that before the money exchanges, when you're dealing with market forces, you're dealing with a natural and organic growth of the economy. When you talk about post priori, which is where you are on collecting taxes and everything, tax the fucking rich people so we can give it back to the poor people who we just displaced with all the mass migration because that makes more sense.
I can't. Can we move on to the next thing? I can't have a discussion on economics with you. You're not equipped for this discussion. Can we just move on to the next point?
So one.
I'm not going to argue with somebody that's going to go into like the taxes are evil. Blah. Like it's not a discussion
Well,
that you're prepared to have.
Excuse me, that's a straw man. I didn't say taxes are evil. I said that they're distortionary because they work against the natural forces of the market. I mean,
Sure.
I understand that you don't know what you're
I understand.
talking about.
All taxes are bad. All social programs are bad. All of that. I understand, dude.
Straw man.
No, dude, I totally get it. No, dude, I'm a classical libertarian, dude. No, I totally. Can we just move on to the next? Can we move on to the next thing, dude?
Yeah. Let's just move on because you obviously don't know what you're talking
I know,
about.
dude.
So
I
let's
can't.
move
I'm
on
too.
to So I want to say this is just a final point that we didn't bring up, just for my audience and yours that'll be watching this. The net benefit that I can find for taxes being paid by low-wage illegal migrants is $12 billion, while the net detriment in terms of roads, bridges, schools, etc., is $112 billion.
Wow.
So
You're not measuring any of the economic growth. You're not measuring any of the benefits to the companies that are employing low-cost labor. You're not measuring any of the. Does this include like sales tax and gas tax paid by these people? Does it like? Are you including any of this? Or are you just getting like raw numbers off of income tax paid? You realize that all income tax paid by people that make less than 10 to 15K a year is almost negligible, right? Like a lot of these people pay negative tax rates.
Yeah. So why would you want to import more people that are going to be paying negative tax rates? Seems
Because tax rate alone is the only way that you measure an increase in the economy.
I mean, it's almost like they're going to be a burden on everybody. They're going to make lower wage earners poor, and all they're going to do is make people at the upper crust really wealthy. It's almost like you're making an argument for wealth inequality.
It's almost like I said, a sensible immigration policy finds a way to redistribute the winnings from the winningness people getting, the most advantages from this immigration deal and finding ways to retrain or rejob people that are the most severely impacted.
Yeah, exactly. Let's fuck over poor people, but let's fuck rich people more. That makes sense. Anyway, let's move on to Black Lives Matter.
I can't, dude. I'm sorry. Listen, Listen, dude. I enjoy it, but you're not equipped to have these conversations, dog.
No,
you've got your YouTube channel. I sincerely appreciate what you do. I hope you continue to have success, dog. But I'm gonna kill myself if I have to talk to you anymore. I'm sorry, dude. Good luck with everything. I can't. I'm sorry, guys. I can't. Not with this guy. I can't do it. This is what I feel like I feel like the Stephen Molyneux conversation would be similar to this. Like I can't have these conversations, dude. Like I'm gonna end up fucking killing myself. Like I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't. Maybe we can have yeah, I don't know. Fuck, dude. We need to play video games, right? That's what we do here. Who the fuck was that? Ape Rape or something? I don't remember. What was his name? Oh, Naked Ape. I watched that one video, and it should have been an indicator of what was going on. It should have been an indicator of what was going on. But, you should have noted his arguments on Notepad and shown him Yeah, but he was, like, super quick to abandon retarded points that he make, and he would just keep jumping, like, from the next to the next to the next, and it was, like, it was too much. I can't have, like, a conversation with somebody like this. I can't do it. Like, at least, like, X kills me. At least when I disagree with him, like, at least he, like, bases his, at least he bases his opinions like in fact and reality, and I can actually have a discussion with him. Or even if I disagree with him, at the end of the day, like I know that he's coming like from a place where he's not like a total fucking idiot. He's like an alt-right leafy LOL. Yeah, maybe. Why engage with people like this? Because I thought it would. I don't know, dude. I didn't think it would be like that. Dude, my bad. I know. I say this. I should have listened. I'm sorry. I should have heeded your warning. I fucked up, dude. I fucked up. Do you know how old that dude is? I have no fucking idea, dude. This is what libertarians do. They abandon points when they can't support them and pretend they'd never said it. They're the most... Yeah, I don't know, dude.
You could have played that debate better.
The Naked Ape dude is going to embarrass himself. He releases that video. Except not, because he'll view it as he won the argument. I like that in the first, 10 minutes, he kept saying that I was self-flatulating myself because I had to, carefully correct what he was saying because he kept misrepresenting everything I said. Well, you believe that growing GDP is the way to grow the economy. I've never said that in my life. So if people kept hearing that claim that he brought up, I don't know if this is a claim that people make. GDP is only a single measure of an entire economy's output for everything going on in the economy. It is not a good measure of an increase in the standard of living. It is not a good measure of the general happiness or well-being of a people. It doesn't measure education. It doesn't measure, a myriad of other things, right? You can't just say that this country has more GDP than this country, so it's better. That's retarded as fuck. Much the same way you can't say this country even has a higher GDP per capita than this country. Even that isn't an accurate measurement of an economy, right? I've literally never made a statement like this in my entire life because I know that it's fucking retarded. So the fact that he opens it and he kept trying to go back to this idea is It's like really fucking autistic.
Dude, the guy was a fucking retard. It's okay, don't worry about it. Northern Ireland love less than 3.
Wow, thanks, Bruce Danis. I love you, buddy. I'll make sure to contribute that money to the socialist fund, comrade. I'll go find all the most violent blacks I can. Give them that money so they can go buy guns and shoot up white people. Or you should have ended it right when he started saying shut up over and over again. Yeah, maybe. Destiny sounds bothered. Is it because he doesn't come across as informed or articulate? I don't have in-depth knowledge of a large amount of the fields. Really, if it's outside of music or video games, I really don't have like in-depth knowledge of anything. So typically I'm parroting opinions of experts in fields when I talk about these things, right? Or an amalgamation of their opinions, right? So when I have somebody like literally telling me like this thing is wrong and they have no background in any of these academic fields or any amount of study or whatever, it makes it really hard for me to have a conversation with this person because either one, they're insanely full of themselves and disagree with like leading thought
Now
on an
back
opinion
to the
or
true
on a certain topic,
self-flagellation league.
or two, they are an incredibly intelligent academic who is at a level above me, in which case I'm not equipped to debate with him anyway. If this guy is going to start tearing apart arguments made by leading economists, I mean, I can't.
Fuck the Northern Irish.
Why don't you just take the dick for the team and get an economics degree? Because I don't even know if an undergrad in economics would give me enough information to talk about most of these things. You're talking about like macroeconomic effects on things going on across entire countries. Like, would an undergrad in
How
economics
do you even
prepare
put
me
up
for these
debating with
conversations?
people who are so immovable? Just finished watching the debate with JonTron and I would honestly have a fucking aneurysm after the first 10 minutes.
But like, if I had to get a degree in everything we argued about on stream, I'd have to get a sociology degree. I'd have to get an undergrad in some kind of science, and then like a master's in climatology or meteorology. I don't even know like what degrees you need for that. Like, we can't just go to college and get a degree for every topic that we want to argue about. You shouldn't really stoop down to the personal insult level. Yeah, I guess maybe. I don't know, dude. It was a mistake to talk to him. It was my bad. I shouldn't have. I didn't know that he was literally going to go like from straw manning me into telling me to shut up and that I'm just self-flatulating. Or not flatulating, oh god, I don't even remember the other word now. Wait, flatulation means to fart, right? What was he, self-flagating?
DISCRIMINATIONDOESNTEXIST.
No, wait, flagellate. Flagellate is to hit yourself. Flatulate. Which one is the... Oh, god. I don't know,
This
dude.
isn't the right venue to say this, but I've always hated Phil Collins. Screw yourself, Phil.
Isn't there any benefit to be had in looking at expert leading research articles and opinions and trying to figure out for
Have
yourself
you
what makes it
already
valid or
covered the
invalid?
possible repeal of the Dodd-Frank Act with a Trumple?
No.
Abither for Hadri to kill himself. Wait, fuck, don't do that, he might explode, Peppy.
Flatulate is fart. Flagellation is hitting yourself with a whip.
I feel sorry for you. Come watch Sexy Boy.
Wow, nice meme.
There is no such thing as a Palestinian. Can all my Hadri haters give me?
Damn. Did you know that Pole has their own arena? Oh, shit. The alt hype. I don't know if I can do it, dude. Hello, Danielle Kip recommended I go into your show and debate you on race. Would you be interested? The conversation with somebody that's like actually a race realist. Unfortunately, I messaged an old friend that I had she does like oh fuck, never mind. She doesn't know anybody. I need to find, I need to get like literally like somebody with a special background, like I guess in genetics. Would this be like PhD work or anthropology? I don't know if that would kind of scientific, because the problem is when you start debating these kinds of people, they're very quick to pull out like 50 million like weird studies from like these crazy sites and shit saying that like black people are, have less brain cells than white people should. And it's like the only way that I can properly refute these would be to have like a highly educated person on hand that can go through these arguments. Like I'm not about to get into like a technical, biological, or
Hadri,
genetics-related
fuck
argument
you.
with somebody
Northern
that's
Ireland
throwing
hates
me links
you.
from Stormfront,
Destiny knows his shit.
Damn, Bruce Danis. I took an anthropology intro in college. You can state me as a reference.
Stop interrupting me. 5 minutes later, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up.
Oh, shit, dude.
Alright, time for the real debate. When you're cutting steak, do you cut it with or against the grain? Defend your
Time to
position.
start a 400k donation drive to get a PhD in biology. Even if there is a biological difference, what is the point? Well, the point is that they go on from that biological difference to say, since black people are inferior to white people, we are right as white people in keeping them out of our country. We can keep these people from ever coming here because they're
Don't
lesser
know
than
if
us,
you've
is the
seen this
argument.
meme. It's pretty legit.
Oh god, is Total Biscuit defending JonTron? Do I want to read this?
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Total Biscuit. You remember a time when Gizmodo was credible? No, I don't either. Gizmodo, a part of the now dead but sort of not Gawker Network. Indeed, the supposed technology site of that particular network that includes other such sites as Deadspin, Jezebel of all things, Qatar.
I can't do it, dude. So what would you do in the middle of a debate if a PhD biologist said that black people are inferior? I mean, if that actually started to come out in terms of like actual research and actual evidence, then we would modify our opinion accordingly. Like,
Nice meme.
nice meme. You could just find a good site that has pure articles. Yeah, but when you're part of these ultra-racist communities, you have like a Gish Gallop collection of like 50 links to throw at somebody whenever you make these arguments. If you've ever been in the Donald, or if you look at the downvoted comments like in politics or our news or world news or whatever, you'll find these people where like they're saying like black people are inferior to white people, and then they've got like 400 links from like all these
Hey
random
buddy,
sites, and they
debate
want you to
tips
go
time.
and disprove
When
like
you
every
debate
single
DB,
one.
tell him you hope he dies of cancer.
Wow, nice meme, Kirby. Then you can write things down like positions and work through them with the person you are discussing. Yeah, but so the problem is that, I don't know if I'm using this term right, but the problem is that sometimes when you argue with certain people,
Destiny getting oil money for promoting mass immigration really makes you think.
nice meme. Okay, hold on, I'm turning off donation sounds for a second. So if you donate and they're not talking, stay fucking mad. They're not going to speak for a little bit. So the problem with arguing with some people is that there are a lot of people that won't argue in good faith. So like, let me give you an example, okay? A lot of people, half of my argument with JonTron last night, I was just trying to find out what he believed, right? A lot of people kept, like, I see a lot of comments going around, right? I read so many fucking comments today. Holy shit, there were so many huge threads, right? But a common trend that I'm noticing, like if you go to the Kotaku in Action subreddit, right, is that a lot of people were saying things like, I trapped JonTron into saying these bad things. Like, over half of my conversation with JonTron was usually asking for clarification on his points, right? How many times did I ask him, why is white nationalism, why is it white people become a minority a bad thing, right? Most of my conversations with people are usually asking questions to clarify their points, and then it's asking parallel questions to see if their logic, holds up, right? Are you going to be consistently logical with everything you say? And do you actually understand what you're talking about? And do you understand the implications of everything you're talking about, right? Like, these are like the majority of my conversations. So like when I'm talking to JonTron, I don't think I actually like attacked him at all. I barely put forth any arguments of my own. Usually I was just asking him questions and prodding what he believed to be true, right? Like, why do you believe this thing about black people? Why do you believe that black people talk about crime? Why do you think that Black Lives Matter exists? Why do you think people have, right? Well, that's most of my conversation, right? Generally, even though JonTron was smug as fuck, and would continue to like laugh me off after saying like really retarded shit, oh fuck, it was really hard. I almost lost my cool a few times, but I didn't. It didn't feel like, no, I guess JonTron did. It's really annoying when I'm talking to people who aren't really interested in what I think. So, like, let me give you an example. When I'm talking to JonTron, how many times was JonTron really quick to ascribe to me a certain belief that I hadn't stated? When did he do this?
Come
He
on,
did this a
bruh.
couple times. Oh, fuck, I thought I muted these fucking things. Oh, wait, because that's a subscription thing. Whatever. Like, when JonTron would say, like, people like you are supposed to tell me things like this. Like, people like you believe like, hold on, well, I don't think I made any assumptions about JonTron. I asked him about most of his points, but then he would start to, like, ascribe beliefs to me somehow. And it was like, well, hold on, I'm trying to figure out what you believe. Oh, yeah, the communist, you and your communist friends, which I'm a big supporter of capitalism. I'm American as fuck, so I don't even know if another economic system is viable, right? I'm a big supporter of capitalism. I don't support communism.
the fuck, dude? Like, I've never made that argument, right? But like, notice how quick it was to ascribe beliefs to me. But I was just asking him questions, right? Typically, when I talk to people, if you ever hear me say something like, are you racist, or is this a racist belief? Usually that's only after I've asked them so many questions that we're almost like begging the question at that point. Like, we're almost at the point to where it's like, what are you trying to say? Like, usually we have to get to that point. So like JonTron did it, I want to say 3 separate times last night, where I remember I asked him, like, if 100 million Mexicans immigrated here and instantly integrated into the culture, would that be okay? And he said, yeah, that would be okay. And I was like, well, then what's the problem? He's like, well, normally they wouldn't do that all at once. They would come slowly. So, you know, they would kind of like combine the gene pool. And it's like, what? What the fuck is the gene pool? What does this have to do with anything? There was that very strange comment, and then that laughing every time I asked him about like, why do you think or I think he initially asked, like, why do young black men commit more crime? And then he kind of laughed, and then I was like, I gave a few reasons, like, I don't know, socioeconomic conditions, positions in the household, you know, the ghettoization of black people. And he's like, well, we all know that it's not really that. And I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, I'm not going to go down that road. I was like, well, what road? What road don't you want to go on? He's like, oh. And then he was like, you're trying to make me sound racist. You should go work for CNN. It's like, the fuck? What? I'm just asking you questions about shit that you said, dog. I'm just trying to find out what you believe. Like, right? Or like when he talks about like black people in America, it's like, well, what about black people in Africa? It's like, the fuck do black people in Africa have to do with black people in America? Or he's like, well, look at all over the world, countries are having problems with these people. Like, what do you mean these people? Like, what are you talking about, right? Like, most of my things were just asking him to clarify, and then people are like, Destiny is out debating this guy, and he's trying to trap him into a corner. Like, I don't like employ like high-level debate trickery against people. I'm not like some master like mind-bending, you know, illusionist who can trick people into saying like, I'm typically just asking questions. If you find that you're getting I understand that some people can get nervous and poorly articulate themselves in front of an audience. I totally understand that. I still get nervous when I call into the fucking local radio program around here. Like, it happens to me. Like, you get, like, fucking palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, there's spaghetti on your spaghetti already. Like, this shit happens to me sometimes. But, like, I don't agree with this, like, by me asking you questions to clarify your point of view, that suddenly it makes it so that I'm trapping you into a corner, you know? Much the same way, but like, so like, compare that to like when I'm talking to this guy. Like, this guy is like obsessed with trying to back me into these arguments that I'm not even making.
When my resub was just 1 day off and I couldn't shitpost in the JonTron boss battle feels bad, man.
Rip. When I'm talking to a guy that's constantly trying to ascribe beliefs to me, it's like, fuck, like, I don't want to have a conversation with this person, right? With the Naked Ape dude, like, that guy wasn't interested at all in what I think about anything, right? He was trying to very quickly label me up as like, oh, so you believe that GDP growth is a way to measure your economy? It's like, well, no, I've never said that in my life. I would never say that. That's such a stupid statement. It's like, okay, well, let's move on to next. So anytime anybody tries to draw an analogy, you just deflect. It's like, well, no, I'm not deflecting. I think that their economies are very, very, very different. Like, I don't, oh, so you're just self-flagellating every time you what's up, you're trying to, like, well, no, I don't think that these analogies are good for these. Oh, well, every time you blah, 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 you deflect. It's like, okay, well, holy shit, like, every single time I would say like a single thing, like, this guy's like down my fucking throat trying to ascribe, like, instead of trying to clarify a position of mine, or like, for instance, and again, I love that you're here, X Kills Me. I love you, dude, because I hate you so much. No, I don't really hate you. I disagree with so many things you say, but like, when I'm talking to X Kills Me, it feels like, even though, oh my god, I don't think there are many people that I disagree with more than X Kills Me. When X Kills Me is arguing with me on Skype, generally, he's asking me for clarification on my positions, right? When we talked about the Muslim ban, do you think it's a Muslim ban, Destiny? Well, all Muslim countries aren't banned. How do you explain that, right? He does the same, it seems like he engages in more or less the same type of discourse that I do. Asks me a question, so you think it's a Muslim ban, and then asks me further questions to see if I'm consistent. How is it a Muslim ban if these countries weren't banned? Why is it a Muslim ban if Indonesia isn't banned? Why is it a Muslim ban if, or why do you blame this on the Trump administration if the Obama administration was the one that generated this list, right? These are valid questions. But it's not that they're just valid questions either. It's him prodding into my thought process to determine what it is I actually think, and then to argue when we're both on the same page for things, right? And again, I fucking disagree the fuck out of most of the things that he says, but when he argues, it seems like he's arguing in good faith. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Yeah, fuck, that dude triggered the fuck out of me. But then X Kills Me proceeds to tell you that you're wrong. Yeah, but at least we can all be memers up until that point. I think as soon as people start using terms like deflecting, you start misrepresenting the meaning of the discussion, not you, just people in general. Oh yeah, the guy kept saying I was deflecting. I'm like the least. correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm like the least deflective person that I know. I usually try to keep my arguments very, very, very specific. So like JonTron kept saying that to me. I was like, let's talk about immigration in America. And he's like, okay, well, what about in the United Kingdom? I was like, well, hold on, dude. Like, these countries are very different and have very different problems. Like, you're deflecting. It's like, no, I'm not. Let's talk about America. I know a lot about America. I know way more about America than I do about countries in Europe. I have a feeling that you do too. And he said several things that made it painfully obvious that he had no fucking idea what life was like anywhere in fucking Europe, right? So let's just talk about America, the place we both live and the place we're having a discussion about, right? Rather than like trying to, but like people are
I
like,
really enjoyed the JonTron chat for the entertainment.
how do I keep
But I
not
think it's
muting these
important to
donations? Holy
debate
fuck.
stuff in general. Keep up the coherent conversation.
Thanks, buddy. Oh, because that's a bits one. Fuck. Okay, I got them all now. This guy is saying he won the debate. Of course he did. He'll say it because I rage quit the donation, yeah. Or I rage quit the debate. This is the dude who thought out the greater good argument for possible future diversity. Don't hate him. He's not all there. Oh god, future diversity. Oh no. Wait, I can't tell if this guy... I don't even know if this is... I don't actually know if this is trolling or not. JonTron took not only the red pill, but also the bog pill in the process. Next episode, he will teach you about the number 6 million being wrong. Do you think that he thinks it's wrong? Or... I don't actually know. The Holocaust isn't real, boys. This woman wants to debate with you? This isn't a woman, I think this is a gay man. But, I don't know. He's a podcast syndicated on Daily Stormer. I would rather Jews didn't teach my kids either. I can't do it. I can't have discussions. Let black teachers teach black children. I'm good with that. Black students do better with black teachers. Good idea. I can't talk to this person, dude. Amazing atheist shits on Naked Ape. This is the big neckbeard dude, right? I can't watch this dude. I'm sorry, dude. I can't handle these YouTube personalities. This is too much for me. Fucking the amazing atheist, Thunderfoot, Sargon. These guys, it feels like, I could be wrong. I could be totally ignorant because I don't watch enough of their content. But it feels like a lot of these guys, like 4 or 5 years ago, like they found like their shtick of being like anti-SJW, and that has become like the total encompassing of all of their personality. Like, who are you? I am anti-SJW. Wow, well, what do you believe in? About what? Well, I don't know. What do you think about like education? What do the SJWs think about education? I don't know. Well, they think this thing. I think the opposite of that thing. And that's like the entirety of their existence becomes that. It's too many memes for me, dude. That's got to be tiresome as fuck. Because like in order to figure out like what all of your opinions should be, you have to like know so much about everybody else's opinions so that you can constantly have the opposite. Like, oh shit, dude. Destiny, what's wrong with that? Because... Listen, we can do this via mathematical theorem, okay? If this thing is stupid, okay? This being stupid does not mean that this thing all of a sudden is intelligent. Does that make sense? Like, if you believe in a certain thing, or if you believe that a certain thing is stupid, then the way to be intelligent is not to be the opposite of that thing, right? It's not how that works. There are people that do that. If you define yourself by counterculture, you're just as dumb as the culture you're criticizing, right? You can't, you just can't do that and be an intelligent person. Like, Destiny, that was a really big misrepresentation. Yeah, it might be, but that's just what I get whenever I see a video of Sargon or Thunderfoot or the Amazing Atheist or I don't know, any of these other people. It seems like these are people that define their entire existence by being anti-SJW, and like all of their political opinions come from being anti-SJW. Like, I love all the anime and Pepe avatars tweeting at me. You're closer to Thunderfoot than you think. People said the same thing about me and Milo. Fuck off, dude. The telling thing, I didn't want to say this before I clicked the video. I didn't want to say this because I clicked the video, but I already fucking know. I'll try to extrapolate, okay? The telling thing about these videos is that when they make these videos, you can see the kind of audience that he's cultivated. Notice that when he calls out Lauren Southern, notice that half of his fucking fan base like revolts against him, right? I'm willing to bet that if Thunderfoot has a video on Brexit, that the like-dislike ratio is probably similar. Oh, fuck, it's not. Okay, never mind. Oh, he got me, dude. Maybe it's because both people like Sargon. I guess he's got like a few dislikes on it, but
This happens on my channel anytime I start talking about social issues. People get fucking mad as fuck. Or people brigade my shit. I'm not actually sure what's happening anymore. It's hard to tell. Oh yeah, here's another one. Impact of Brexit on UK science. Yeah, this is pretty disliked. Give it a rest, mate. You lost. I like this new meme that's been coming out. You lost. Like, oh, okay. Well, one side won the election, so I guess that means that all, like, discourse on the other side needs to die. Like, thank you for reminding me. Like, what? This doesn't even make sense. What? Thunderfoot is okay if you avoid his SJW stuff. To be fair, most of what I see of Thunderfoot is stuff that's posted in, like, Kotaku and Action and Gamer Godsey and shit, so.
Wow!
All Brexit leaders flee the singing show. Okay, no, I stand by my original thing. Maybe the other people just like Sargon a lot, so they felt the discussion was unreasonable. Like, yeah, it looks like most of Thunderfoot's videos about Brexit are pretty heavily downvoted. No, the EU is not Europe.
So you remember
Everything you need to know about Brexit. Oh, shit. You highlight text when you read stuff? Oh, no, I just do this because it's a fucking habit. I don't know why I do it. Why did we ever do... Oh, okay, yeah, never mind. I stand by my original argument. Fuck that. Yeah, he's got downvoted to fuck on all these videos. I think that I have people that subscribe to me just to, like, thumbs down my videos, too. I see it happen sometimes. This one is probably going to hit, like, a 50-50 split. Oh, it's better than I thought it would be. Oof. I like this meme that's getting passed around. I asked somebody about it because I saw it posted here. Apparently, a bunch of people are coming in to defend JonTron about the richest blacks are more violent than the poorest whites. And I guess a meme that's getting passed around is people taking data from, like, one city that's poor with white people and then one city that's rich with black people to prove this point. I'm seeing this, like, getting posted. Like, I had a ton of people tweeting this meme at me, and then a lot of people posting like the one, like, picking one city from each type of person as representative of the entire population somehow. like, okay, dude, good arguments. What do you think the reason is for JonTron using the European analogy so adamantly? Oh, so every time I want to talk in depth about this, I want to use music as an example, but it's really hard for me to do that because in order to have a conversation about this, I feel like I want to talk about very technical things that go over most of the audience because my background would be talking on music. But like, fuck, what can I use? I keep making these arguments and it seems like so many people don't agree with it, but they're so wrong. Can I use a music argument? Where is this sheet music? By clicking any link. Oh, fuck. Can I just get, like, pictures of the sheet music? Is that possible? Fuck, do I really want to do this? Where are my music bros at? There's a part in this key, or there's a part in this song that's in the key of E major, right? Temporarily. So, like, fuck, I don't think I want to do this. I'm going to explain this analogy. I don't know if this will make sense or not, okay? Tonality in music, talking about having a tonal center to a piece of music is a relatively complicated thing to get into. Depending on the particular piece of music, you can make different arguments for tonality, okay? You can make different arguments about the overarching structure of the piece, okay? In order to engage in these arguments, you need to have a background in music to do it. You cannot take out a piece of information and just say like, oh, well, this piece, is in this key because I see this here, right? The problem when you're arguing with a lot of people about complex economic or immigration related instances is these are people that typically want to take like one little piece of information and then try to say like this proves their argument, right? So like imagine that you're talking about the piece Moonlight Sonata, okay? This piece is in the key of C sharp minor, okay? Period. That is the key that the piece is in, okay? And I can prove this to you by going through and analyzing piece by piece every single part of this piece of music, okay? I can tell you what every chord is. I can tell you how all of these chords function. I can point out all of the major cadences that establish tonality, okay? I can point out the overarching structure of the piece. I can even point out the overarching structure of this piece in the sonata form for all three movements, right? To prove the tonality of this piece, the original intention of the artist, and how you perceive it as a person because of what I understand about music, right? I can do all of these things because I understand a lot about music, because I have a background in music, okay? And I can do all of this. However, what I see people do, like Ben Shapiro, who have no educational background in the things that they talk about, is they will go for like one piece of information. So for instance, in this piece, in the Moonlight Sonata piece, there is parts of this piece that have a key change.
I believe there's a key change to like to E major at some point in here, right? And they will take like this one part and they'll be like, well, actually, this whole piece is in this key. And then you're like, well, no, that's not true. And they're like, well, really? How do you explain these measures? And it's like, okay, well, these measures are just part of like, okay, look at this. This is an E major. This part points to E major. And look at this. This is an E major. And technically, everything they're saying is true. But just because that's true doesn't make your argument true. You're missing so much of the context of why this piece is in C sharp minor. But because they'll find like one or two facts to grapple on with, and they'll be like, well, look, you can obviously see that, like, I mean, look, I've got this fact here, right? This is indicative of an E major piece, isn't it? Yeah, it is. This is indicative of like E major cadences that establish E major tonality, right? Okay, yes, it is. Okay, so then how are you going to tell me that this piece is in C sharp minor? How are you going to say that when I've already proven all of these E major points? Like, well, because you're missing the bigger picture. Right, what? Because it doesn't fit your narrative? Because it doesn't fit your SJW libcuck narrative for this piece to be in E major? It has to be in C sharp minor? Like, that, so it's whatever's convenient for you, the liberal, huh? It's going to be convenient for you, the liberal, and how you define the tonality of this piece. It's like, well, no! Like, this is the problem that I have when uneducated people try to pull out like one fact from a thing and they're like, proving my point. It's like, no, these issues are so much more complicated than this, that you can't just point out like one or two facts and then say that they prove a much more overarching, comprehensive argument. Like, you can't do that. Does that make sense? When people talk about, people can say like, why did you keep JonTron from going to Europe? Because JonTron didn't even know what the fuck he was talking about for America. I don't want to go across the fucking Atlantic Ocean to find totally different countries with totally different sets of problems and then try to act like these are completely legitimate analogous comparisons to American society. It's not. The experiences that we have are vastly different across all of these countries. Like, the welfare state in Europe is much, much, much higher than the welfare state in the United. This is just one dimension, okay? In Europe, if you immigrate to a country, you are entitled to way more social services, healthcare, education, and all this shit that you don't get in the United States, right? That dramatically changes the impact of immigration, both legal and illegal, in these countries, right? Illegal immigration or immigration in general is going to hurt you a lot more if there is a higher welfare burden on the populace. That's just a fact. I acknowledge that, right? If you're providing way more free services to people coming into your country, then maybe you do need to be a little bit more selective about who comes in, or maybe you need to modify what services you offer these people. That's just one thing, right? There's a million other things that make these incomparable places, right? Well, you can't just say, well, let's just compare these two things because of these people, and then try to make that argument that these are analogous, right? I got mad at the Naked Ape guy for doing it, and I wouldn't let JonTron do it. I didn't want to run off into that direction because, no, dude, it's way more complicated than that. And personally, I don't like digging into the nitty-gritty facts because I don't think I have the contextual background to discuss all of them. This is why I usually cite economic opinion from leading economic authorities. I'll usually cite articles, or I'll cite other people that do have comprehensive overviews of the things they're talking about, because I know that whatever kind of interpretation they give is going to be contextualized because they have a career in fucking analyzing it. I'm always going to trust a person that spent their whole life studying macroeconomics to tell me something rather than me reading a report and figuring it out myself, you know? Like, Destiny, where do you draw the line? The case you're making sounds like a lazy excuse. The losing side can always get it. Well, if we zoom out even more, we see more context that disproves what you're saying again and again. You have to draw the line somewhere instead of just redelegating the... my line that I draw is I just want to find out what is causing problems. The problem is that some people don't want to talk about it. Like fucking JonTron didn't want to talk about it when he said it with the black youth. Why do young black people commit crime? And this is why I guess you could argue that I jumped to a conclusion here when I asked, so what's the solution? Do we kill them all or deport them? And he's like, oh, why would you say that? Now you're putting words in my mouth. It's like, okay, well, what is your solution? Because you're telling me that black people are like predisposed to being criminals regardless of socioeconomic status, which he said, regardless of where they live or anything else, which he claimed, right? So what's the solution then? You're offering me no solutions. When you're saying things like these people, because of the color of their skin, are literally bound to acting in certain ways, there's no solution. Like, that's not an acceptable argument to me. There are ways to improve the quality of life of these people, and there are ways to integrate them more heavily into society, and there are ways to make them function better in society for all of society. I'm pretty sure these arguments are true because we have made improvement on so many different fronts over the past 200 years. It seems strange that we would stop making that improvement now, you know? How come it's okay for you to argue with people in politics but not Ben Shapiro even though you're both uneducated? Can you attack his political stance instead of convince me? I'm open to being swayed, not a troll. Because when I'm attacking Ben Shapiro, I attack his experience because he's saying that experiences are relevant. The difference between me and Ben Shapiro is that I will quickly defer a topic to an academic expert because I trust that they have the necessary credentials in a field to argue something at a much more comprehensive and competent level than I can. You will not hear Ben Shapiro say that. On the opposite, Ben Shapiro will take people he disagrees with and then say like, well, sociology isn't a legitimate field of study, and then go on to make a video showing why he has no idea how stats work and is putting forth malicious or intentionally misrepresented arguments to make all Muslims seem like fucking radicals or whatever, right? Well, maybe if you would have taken a couple sociological classes, maybe you would know that this video was a bunch of fucking bullshit. I brought this up on stream before, but I know there are a couple new people here, right? So here's an example, okay? Ben Shapiro, Muslims, okay? Ben Shapiro has a very popular video, 2 million views, and he goes through on explaining why the majority of Muslims are radical, right? But the way that he does this is by cherry picking the most favorable stats he can find from a variety of polls in the country that support his narrative. And sometimes his polling is as vague as, do you support Sharia law, right? Which means different things in different places, right? You could probably poll Americans, do you support biblical law? And you would find maybe similar numbers or very high numbers, probably. America's probably a little bit more secular than depending on the Middle Eastern country you're picking. Maybe not like Indonesia or some shit, I'm not sure, right? But like there's a lot of in the weeds that Ben Shapiro misses in this video. Like the fact that a lot of people that believed that Sharia law should apply to people only thought it should apply to other Muslims and not people that were non-Muslims. Or the fact that people have very different interpretations of Sharia law. Saudi Arabia interprets Sharia law a hell of a lot different than Bangladesh or Indonesia, right? Or even Americans that are Muslim. The 4 million Americans living in the United States, the 4 million Muslims living in the United States do not have the same views of Sharia law as the Muslims living in fucking Saudi Arabia. Or the Christians in the United States do not have the same views of biblical law as people in like fucking Sudan or some shit, right? Like, and again, like to go like, and again, like you can find, I know that maybe PolitiFact is a cuck website and a cuck SGW website. You can read a teardown on where he gets these stats and why these stats are horribly misrepresentative of what he's trying to, the points that he's trying to make, right? I don't feel like reading this whole article on stream, but you can go through it. But it shows how the numbers are like incredibly cherry-picked and how they don't necessarily mean like somebody is radicalized just because they believe in a certain thing. But, yeah. What is even biblical law? The idea that all of our law is influenced from our Christian values. Nice fucking meme. That gets a retweet. Good job. Paul Joseph Watson has this same problem whenever he starts tweeting. It's pretty funny. Look at Americans and the Ten Commandments and wanting them to be written above the courts and shit. Yeah. I think even in a lot of parts in Germany, you guys still, like, a lot of places are closed on, like, Sundays and shit, which I thought was really weird. That might not be true, like, in your major cities, like in Berlin and shit, but, like, in Krefeld, like, I think almost everything was closed on Sunday. It blew my mind when I was walking around and there were so many closed places, like, midday Sunday. I was like, the fuck is going on? And the people there were telling me, like, oh, well, you know, in a lot of smaller cities in Germany, everything is closed on Sunday. Like, that's just literally, I think they said, like, within the past couple years that it finally started to change. I don't know how true that is. It's just what I was told when I was there. Maybe that's not... completely representative of all of Germany, but Christianity allows leeway for a separation of church and state. The Quran does not make this distinction destiny. That is absolutely not true. A Christian's top law is the Bible, period. And that Bible, biblical law, should supersede everything else about any other law around you. The Word of God and God's law should be the right. Doesn't Jesus say God's law is transcribed in our hearts or something? I don't remember if that's an exact quote or not, but like the biblical law absolutely supersedes any other form of federal, state, mayor, or city or whatever law or anything. The Word of God says to uphold state law unless it conflicts. You're saying what I just said. Yeah, everybody is making points in chat about the render unto Caesar what was Caesar's. I don't understand what you're saying here. I don't think it's against the law in any biblical law to not pay your taxes. I don't understand why this point is relevant. I see a lot of people quoting it. You're not breaking a biblical law by paying taxes. Do you think Islam is compatible with Western values? As a religion, No, but Christianity isn't either. I don't think any religion is comparable with Western values. I think that most Christians in the West have become a lot more secular than they like to admit. I think that Islamic people in the West are a lot more secular than Islamic people in the Middle East. I think that people in the West tend to be more secular, period, than other people. I think that most part, secularity is the direction that we are headed in, and it is good for values. I don't think that becoming more Christian or more Islam or more anything else is like the way to go forward. Jesus was a hardcore libertarian. Naked Ape takes the literal interpretation of appeal to authority and translates it into it's bad to cite credible experts. Yeah, Ben Shapiro does the same. Destiny, what the fuck? I think you're turning poll into liking you and dick riding you? No, I don't think so. I think you retards post threads about it so often that then you go in and you post in those threads. You guys are fucking retarded, dude. Destiny, look at the dislikes now. Wait, you can dislike tweets? Oh, never mind. Nice. Does Destiny read Twitch chat? Sometimes. That just means you're displacing the population in poll. I just want to let you know that there's a good chance that the 80% Christian Norway thing you looked up online could be a hoax, at least in Iceland. They just you automatically send to the Christian church and have to manually opt out of it. Oh, maybe. Final Fury, I believe, was Norwegian in chat. And I think he was saying that, I think he was Christian, and he was saying there are a lot of Christians in Norway too, but that's just one guy. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. How do you feel about the constant increase in practicing Muslims in Europe versus declining Christian numbers? I mean, I consider declining Christian numbers to be a very positive thing. An increase in practicing Muslims, I guess if more Muslims are coming, it's probably to be expected, but I would hope that the overall, like, percentage of Muslims practicing would be decreasing as well, but I don't know. I'm very anti-religious, so. Do you think that religious appeal in U.S. politics will die with the baby boomers? It's possible, but I don't know. The whole Trump bullshit revealed that there are a lot of young people that believe these things as well, so I don't know. It's hard to say. Why do you think Muhammad and Jesus were equally violent? I don't think they were equally violent. I don't think Jesus... there was only one instance of violence in the Bible of Jesus, and that was when he flipped the tables in that temple because people were gambling and shit. He was really fucking ass-pain about that. But he didn't actually hurt anybody. I don't know enough about Muhammad. Wasn't he like a fucking warlord or some shit? I don't know. Muhammad, it seemed like a little bit more fucked up. But I doubt, I guess just being a Christian growing up and seeing the way that Muslims act around the world, I find it hard to believe that you are so beholden to your religious authority figure that they have a massive impact on how you live your life as a person. It seems like religion gets filtered down through so many levels that people's interpretations of holy texts dramatically vary from region to region, you know? So... Muhammad was a conqueror and married a child. I see a lot of like that child porn shit with like Muhammad and shit. I mean, yeah, I think he fucked a 13-year-old, but fucking Catholics do that shit all the time in the Catholic Church, dude. We fuck kids better than like any other fucking religious denomination. Well, I don't know if that's true. I'm sure in Africa there are places where it's probably legal for Muslims and Christians and shit to marry fucking 9-year-olds and whatnot, so. Depending on the... oh, shit. Isn't there a meme video? Isn't there a meme video of me flipping tables like made like 5 years ago? With the Jesus thing? Am I crazy? The Rocky days? It was a Quantic meme? No! I can't listen to myself, never mind. I'm not doing it. Alright, never mind, we're done with this. Oh, fuck. These are old, those were ancient memes. What was the year on this video? 2011, almost 6 years ago. Holy fuck. I know you take issue with Ben Shapiro's views on sociologists, and I agree with you. That said, do you agree with distinguishing some fields of studies being less reputable than others? I mean, like, if a field is less reputable compared to what? Like, I don't know. That just seems like a weird way to compare scientific fields. Like, any field of engineering, like the more you go down the spectrum, the less reputable fields become, right? Physics is going to be less reputable to some extent than pure math, right? Any level of engineering is going to be far less reputable than any amount of physics, right? Like any amount of and then I mean like, you know, any amount of like psychology or whatever is going to be a lot less reputable than like biology. But I mean, like when you move into areas that are harder to study and harder to get like concrete quantifiable data on, I mean, of course that's going to happen, but I don't think that that's a good way to like analyze a field of discipline and be like, oh yeah, like, you know, this field is so much shit compared to this one, we just shouldn't listen to it at all. Like, well, that doesn't make any sense, you know? Like, I'd ask what you mean by reputable here. Well, like, there are people in chat that I assume the question is leading into making the argument that, like, well, psychologists get a lot wrong, or, you know, economics is a soft science. Like, well, yeah, but what is your alternative? It's not like there's a hard version of economics. Like, these are soft sciences because the data is oftentimes on a very macro level. It's very hard to collect. It's even harder to draw experiments out of it, right? And to get meaningful conclusions out of. Like, this shows it. Oh, fields arranged by purity. Sociology is just applied psychology. Psychology is just applied biology. Biology is just applied chemistry, which is just applied physics. It's nice to be on top. Oh, hey, I didn't see you guys all the way over here as a pure mathematician. You demonize Ben Shapiro for having concerns about Muslims, but you think it's a good thing if less people practice Christianity? No. I think that people should have concerns about Islam. I don't like it. I think Islam sucks shit, dude. I wouldn't advocate anybody being fucking Islamic. And I think hijabs and all of that shit is fucking stupid as fuck. But there's a difference between criticizing a religion as an atheist versus criticizing religion as a Christian who rapidly or rampantly supports Christianity and its, you know, expansion and whatever shit into the West. Like, if you're an atheist and you hate all religions and think that all of them have these massive problems with them, then by all means criticize Islam. But if you're somebody like advocating for, you know, the restoration of Christian values and shit, and then you want to shit on other religions, like, okay, dude, well, I mean, that's kind of weird. Like, I don't even know what position you're talking about, you know? Like, you're saying that, like, the hijab is a horrible, oppressive thing to women, and then in your next breath, you're saying that all women that wear two-piece bathing suits are whores and sluts, and that women that wear short skirts are disgusting, subhuman bitches that deserve to be raped and shit. It's like, well, fuck. Like, I mean, that's kind of sounds like you're making the same argument, dog, right? Or in one breath, you say it's horrible that in Saudi Arabia, women aren't allowed to drive cars and they should have equal rights and blah, blah, blah. And then when you come to the United States, you're like, well, I don't know if women are really able to do all these jobs. I don't think that women should be in these fields. And also, you know, women probably shouldn't be allowed to get abortions. Like, okay, well, damn, dude, it sounds like you're making a lot of the similar arguments. Like, your rationale seems pretty same as the other dudes. Like, well, how do you criticize them and then uphold your own beliefs, right? Well, you know, in Saudi Arabia, it's horrible that gay people are treated so badly and, you know, are stoned and thrown out buildings. Okay, but then it's like in the United States, like, we also think that it's okay to not serve gay people. Gay people shouldn't be a protected class. We make fun of transgender people, and gay people also shouldn't be allowed to get married. So we're going to champion people like Kim Davis for denying the marriage license. Like, okay, a lot of this is sounding like pretty similar, dog. They're like a more extreme version of yourself. Doesn't that seem like kind of a bad thing? Like, wouldn't you want to separate yourselves from this kind of thought completely rather than to be like a kind of watered down version of their extremism? You know, like, why does the main character have to be gay? Yeah. They criticize them because they are brown only. I try not to jump to that conclusion, but goddamn, dude. When all of your criticisms are against brown people, against Muslims, against Mexicans, and then fuck black people, and fuck, you know, Africa, and fuck South America, and it's like, at some point, like, you kind of start to wonder, like, and like, I want to be proud of white culture and white pride, and I think that whites are becoming a minority, and blah. It's like, okay, dude, at one point I have to wonder, like, is the racial component, like, a really big deal to you? Like, I'm starting to wonder, dude. You haven't explicitly said anything racist, but I'm really starting to wonder, dude, because you're really going down that path. A lot of what you say kind of sounds like you really fucking hate people that are, like, a certain shade of brown or darker, you know? Yeah, the way that racism and whatnot manifests itself and works today is you never really can get away with calling anybody racist at all because people will say that, right? Who was the guy that I talked to who was like, coming in and was like, oh, actually, I think X Skills might have even said it. Oof, I hope he's not here. But he's like, Mexican isn't a race, Destiny. Mexican is a nationality. It's like, okay, dude. Like, sure. If marriage is a Christian thing and Christians want it to only be between a man and a woman, why should it be changed? Technically, it shouldn't. And I don't think it technically should be. Marriage is a religious institution, and as a religious institution, I think that Christians have a right to define it in whatever way they want. However, Christians kind of fucked that up when they intermingled it with federal law. So that's kind of their fault. If you wanted to keep marriage as only a thing between a man and a woman, you had every right to do so until you started to give explicit legal and financial benefits to married people. As soon as you started to intermingle that shit, well, I'm sorry, dude, but all of America's fucking tax dollars go to pay for marriage deductions, and all of America contributes to a society where married people get certain special privileges. Now you can't really restrict it. You kind of lost the right to restrict that to certain groups of people, because now you're asking for benefits to be paid for by the public. Like, Another reason why I think that, like, I feel like it's about race a lot is, like, when I talk to JonTron and I ask him, like, I'm like, again, you guys, a lot of people kept saying, like, I was backing him in a corner. I was trying to give him easy outs, right? When I asked him, what if 100 million Mexicans came to the United States and integrated immediately and perfectly? And even clarified, he was like, if they integrated immediately? And I was like, yeah, would you be okay with that? And then he said, yeah, that would be fine. So that was okay. We had reached common ground. Integration was the important thing. It wasn't race. But then he had to take it a step further and go, but I don't think that would happen all at once. And I was like, well, what do you mean? Why would it matter? He's like, well, if it happened slowly over time, they would integrate into the gene pool. And it's like, dog, like, come on. Like, I'm trying so hard to throw you a bone. Like, just fucking take the life raft. Oh, fuck. I'm trying. Why do you make it so hard? Last straight man desperately fends off mob trying to inject him with the gay in the year 2020. Jesus Christ. This pic. I don't know when this picture started. That's a pretty good meme though. If this is a higher resolution, this would be my Twitter pic. How do you have a meaningful conversation about race with someone who doesn't believe in racism as an institution? I don't know if I necessarily buy into that. Well, it's a really complicated conversation. I don't feel like going into that right now. You can listen to me and Sky's conversation last night about that. The way that racism and sexism manifest themselves today are very, very, very complicated and very nuanced in ways that aren't like as overt anymore. I don't know, dude. Like, if you watched my stream, like I've had a few moments in my life where it's been a little bit eye-opening, right? And like things that I roll my eyes at now. Like, if you watched my stream, right, when I was playing CS:GO with Cheeks, right, this was a thing that I had never really thought about before. And up until that point, like, I would make the same jokes. So like, oh my god, LOL grill, right? Thinking that, okay, you know, it's a one-time thing. It's kind of funny, you know, LOL grill is kind of funny, etc. Right? When I played fucking CS:GO with Cheeks, oh my fucking god, it turned into Chinese water torture, where the next drip of water, you didn't know when it was coming, but you were like fucking dreading it. Where every time I played a CS:GO game with Cheeks, like, every fucking time she would open her mic the first time in a game, like, everybody was like, oh, grill, oh, grill, oh, grill, oh, grill, oh my god, it's a grill, can you even aim your grill, sandwich, right? Every single fucking game. Dude, I only did that shit. How long did me and Cheeks queue CS:GO? For like a month? I only dealt with that shit for like a month, and it was so incredibly fucking tiring. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Like, by the like halfway, like 2 weeks into this, I was like, dude, you're not funny. Please shut the fuck up. Can we move? Can we get over the jokes? Okay, dude, we got it. She's a girl. It's really funny. Can we, like, okay, can we move on? Like, holy shit. That shit gets irritating as fuck. And that's just people talking in fucking video games, right? That isn't even going into all of the other 50 million things. Propane or charcoal? It's charcoal 100%. If you're using a propane grill, you might as well fry something in a fucking frying pan, okay? Protect Jewel Wield from Ape Dude. Oh no. Wait, why is he messaging Jewel Wield? Oh no. Yeah, Green Bay Monster. But you get it, dude, because we're jazz dudes, right? Or at least you're a jazz dude. I don't think I'd count, but I understand what you're saying, dude. Why do you think JonTron doesn't want whites to be a minority if they don't think discrimination exists anymore? I don't know, dude. I don't want to put words in his mouth. It seemed like a racial thing. White people are just better than brown people, and we want more white people together. Fuck brown people. That kind of seemed like the thing. Destiny, the grill meme is even more annoying because a lot of guys do it ironically, which sounds exactly the same as not. So yeah, this is the problem, okay? Is that people don't realize this is the golden rule of 4chan, okay? That everybody in real life needs to realize, okay? Ironic shitposting is still shitposting. You cannot go into a fucking board and shitpost your heart out, and then when someone calls you on it, be like, oh, I'm just being ironic. Nobody wants to read that shit. That's still fucking annoying, all right? Fuck off with that shit. It's not funny. You're not funny because you're doing it ironically. You're just being fucking retarded. Ironic autism is still fucking autism. Stop. Like, fuck. Did you say that marriage is a religious institution? Well, Christians want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to say that marriage is a religious institution, but at the same time, they want federal and legal benefits for being married, right? As it stands today in the United States, marriage is very much not a legal institution. Fuck, I was fucking married, dude. And that sure as fuck happened after I lost my religion. Oh, yeah. This should be like our fucking stream banner, dude. If this ape boy puts up a video with your stream content, are you gonna cuck his ass? I might, dude. Sometimes I DMCA people to be an asshole. Maybe we will. I don't know. We'll see what my mood is at the time. Destiny, please fucking do it. Shut up, 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 shut up. Oh, shit. Frank Bomarito takes out full page
in PD to blame liberal teachings. Can I go get food? I just want to eat and then come back and play Don't Starve. Can I just do that? In my lifetime, every new president promises change, and every American voter thinks it's going to be for the best, seldom thinking about the price. So now the big question is, does the American voter understand that when you change the course, it often includes sacrifice and rough going for a while? Because we saw better times. My generation longs for the things we once took for granted. What is he talking about? We lived most of our lives feeling no need for a gun and grew up at the family home where the doors were never locked. Our family car was left open and its belongings were never missing. My sister and I never thought about being hurt, and all of our neighbors were friendly and supportive of each other's families. Yeah, unless they were black or unless they were fucking gay. But okay, dude. My sister and I and our friends walked 2.5 miles to school every day, and our safety was never in doubt and was guaranteed to be. I'm pretty sure crime has been dropping since the fucking 60s in the United States, hasn't it been? Violent crime, United States, over time. United States, over time. Hasn't crime been like on a steady decline for like the past 6 decades? What is National Review? Oh, has it been since the 90s? Violent crime rate in the U.S. Here's the trend since 1960. Oh, I'm sorry, maybe it's the 90s. So for the last like 2 or 3 decades. Not that type of crime, but the fear of crime is rising because men were already too busy beating their own wives to go steal from their neighbors. What changed right here in the good old USA? My guess is that there was too much acceptance of liberal teachings. Cultural Marxism? I need to listen to more Paul Joseph Watson so I can copy his fucking accent, dude. Cultural Marxists. Where in your neighborhood where Price sells cars? They were all built in Mexico. Nice. Murders are down, but our sinning is absolutely on all-time highs. Who is the most famous person that follows you? It used to be Asa Butterfield, but then my Twitter account got banned, and now I don't know who the most famous person who follows me anymore is.
Why? Hold on. You asked. The question is, when can we trust the president when he says something phony? Hold on.
You asked a question about CBO, and now you're conflating it with the question of the president.
No,
the question is
about wiretapping first.
Okay.
And then we went on to CBO. So the question in simple terms is, when he says something can we trust that it's real?
Yes.
Or should we assume that it's phony? Well, no.
Suggested it's real. Absolutely.
How can we believe that it's real when you just told us that it was phony then? But now
I
it's
did not
real?
tell you that, Peter, and you're trying.
You told us on Friday that the president said. You didn't. The president said the numbers were phony then, but they're very real now. So how can we?
Well, I also
anything
I think
he says
there's a big.
He won't later say actually it was the opposite.
Hold on. I think the difference is the president was talking then and now about job creation, the number of jobs. The issue that he brought up in the quote that you're talking about was the percentage of people who are unemployed. And there is no question that no matter how you look at this, whether you talk about 4.7 or 4.8 or whatever the number is, that number fluctuates by how people calculate who's in the workforce. Okay, Peter, let me answer the question. You're not. Let me answer it. The bottom line is the percentage of people who are unemployed varies widely by who you're asking and the way you do the analysis of who's actually in the workforce. The number of people who are working and receiving a paycheck is a number that we can look at. Secondly, when you're asking about the validity of the CBO report, again, I refer you to the CBO itself. The number that they issued that would be insured in 2016 was 26 million people. The actual number is 24 million. The actual number is 10.4. That's not a question of our credibility. It's a question of theirs. Do you have anything more?
The bottom line is the question that you still have not answered is, can you say affirmatively that whenever the president says something, we can trust it to be real?
If he's not joking, of course. I mean, but in that case, hold on. But no, you're asking. Hold on.
Start over again with joking.
Okay, no. But your point is, if he's,
Fucking Nathan does this shit. Fucking Nathan will tell a fucking lie to his mom or me, and we know that he's lying, and he's not allowed to lie. And I'm like, Nathan, you cannot lie. That's not good. And he'll say like, oh, I was just joking, and I have to tell him like it doesn't work that way. You're not allowed to tell lies like that. I can't believe the fucking president does it. Fuck me, dude. What a meme.
He every time that he speaks authoritatively, he's speaking as president of the United States. Like it's
more than 3 million Americans voted illegally.
Yes, and he still believes that.
Was he joking, or does he believe it?
He does believe it. Thank you, Julie.
We're waiting on that investigation. What is cultural Marxism and what do alt-right people mean? I don't know. Ask Joe Will. He says it all the time that I'm like a cultural Marxist. I don't. It feels like it's like a buzzword that you throw around. I guess like people believe that there's some like covert ops movement from the '60s, from like the Soviet Union to try to destabilize American culture by being liberal, and that's like what cultural Marxism. I don't know, dude. That's what I gathered.
Babies. This is being condemned by many regions of American politics and citizenry. What did you mean?
Well, of course, I meant exactly what I said, as it always is the case, Chris. And to on that a little further, I've been to Europe and I've spoken on this issue, and I've said the same thing as far as 10 years ago to the German people and to any population of people that is a declining population that isn't willing to have enough babies to reproduce themselves. And I've said to them, you cannot rebuild your civilization with somebody else's babies. You've got to keep your birth rate up, and that you need to teach your children your values, and in doing so, then you can grow your population and you can strengthen your culture, you can strengthen your way of life. And that's not happening in any of the Western European countries. France comes the closest to having a birth rate that's a replacement rate, but it's a clear message that we need to get our birth rates up or Europe will be entirely transformed within a half a century or a little more. And Geert Wilders knows that, and that's part of his campaign and part of his agenda.
Right, but if you want to apply that kind of thinking to America, it seems like a complete contradiction of what we're all about. I mean, this is the melting pot. We are known by those countries that you just mentioned as the bastion of diversity. It is an unqualified strength for us, and it sounds like you're trying to kind of white cleanse our population and saying somebody else's babies. I think that means me, Congressman. I'm only second generation in this country. Who's somebody else's babies?
Chris, we're a country here that, if you take a picture America looks like, you can do it in a football stadium or a basketball court, and you see all kinds of different Americans there. We're pretty proud of that the different looking Americans that are still Americans. And there's an American culture, an American civilization. It's raised within these children in these American homes. And that's one of the reasons why we require that the President of the United States be raised with an American experience. But we've also aborted nearly 60 million babies in this country since 1973. And there's been this effort that we're going to have to replace that void with somebody else's babies. And that's that push to bring in much illegal immigration into America, living in enclaves, refusing to assimilate into the American culture and civilization. Some embrace it, yes, but many are 2 and 3 generations living in enclaves that are pushing back now and resisting against the assimilation.
What about, like, why don't ever people talk about, like, rednecks or, like, rural white Americans that live in enclaves? Why, like, what kind of enclaves are acceptable? Do you think that rural white people in Texas or Indiana or Oklahoma, do you think they represent what it means to be American? I like how when people talk about enclaves, they're always talking about brown people. It feels like I'm jumping to a lot of this. I hope Excuse Me isn't here, but it feels like enclave is starting to sound to me like a dog whistle. Like when people say enclave, it sounds like they're talking about like brown people. Like we don't need these brown people coming around and gathering up in areas. Like,
hey, buddy.
They are acceptable because they're white. Yeah, maybe. Because white enclaves usually end in a suicide pact. The new definition of enclave is the Nazi definition of ghetto. It is a dog whistle, you're just realizing that now? Yeah, spotting these has been bothering me a lot. Oof. We need to make, like, the ultimate dog whistle statement. What is it? Watch out for... Be careful when you go outside. You need to watch out for low IQ thugs that live in enclaves. There's got to be more, like, popular dog whistles that we can do. We can craft, like, the ultimate non-racist message that perfectly gets the point across to everybody that knows what we're really talking about. You forgot preserve. Oh... We need to preserve our cultural identity by getting rid of all of the low IQ thugs forming enclaves in our country. How about that? Urban. Oh, low IQ urban thugs. Funded by George Soros. George Soros literally funnels arms that we were going to send to ISIS into urban neighborhoods to give to low IQ urban inner city thugs. There we go. I still think my favorite debate moment of all time in the history of all of my debates is when I was talking to that CJ guy and I asked him, and I gave the example, when I was trying to talk about causality, I was giving him an example and I was like, and this was, I think my example was something along the lines of like, who do you think has more success in life or more opportunity for success in life. Let's say that you have a kid born into a middle-class, wealthy family with 2 functioning parents, goes to a good school, lives in a good neighborhood, okay? Versus another kid that's born in a shitty ghetto, only has 1 parent, so goes to a shitty school. Which one do you think is going to have, more problems growing up? And he was like, the black one. I think that's probably like of all the conversations I've ever had, that was like easily my favorite moment, like of all fucking time. Like, oh shit, dude. There was too many fucking memes. Oh shit. What about that Pole girl that said Assad and Putin were friends? Oh, that was a funny one. When she wanted to start arguing about the Middle East, and then I asked her something. What did I ask her? Oh, sometimes when people start talking about shit that they like really are out of their league on, like I'll kind of like ask them a question or two to see how retarded they are, or like a leading question to see if they correct me. And I remember I asked her a question like, oh yeah, like, oh, because obviously Russia's doing that because something like the United States is supporting Putin and Assad, has been trying to kill Putin. And she was like, well, yeah, obviously. And then I was like, I think we should move on. Let's not talk about the Middle East. And then she started like laughing because she thought that she had like dominated me in that area. And we moved on. Or I asked the one guy, what did I ask him? Do you even know what continent Libya is on? And he was like, Egypt?
Here's some humor kinda relevant to the subject of us versus those people.
Oh, shit, dude. Why do idiots think they always win debates? I don't like to call people idiots. I don't think it's a constructive way of looking at things. I think that this is what happens, okay? Let's see if I can figure this out, okay? So, let's take something, okay? Let's take an idea right here, okay? White people are inherently superior to black people, okay? So, let's take that apart. Or let's say that that's like your base assumption, okay? From there, you get to a position where you say that black people are predisposed to crime, okay? So black people equal criminals, okay? And then from there, we get into, you get into things like black culture is bad, black culture is bad equals bad, and then from there we can extrapolate things like white culture and white majority is good, okay? I could find better examples of this. I'm just doing this off the top of my head, right? Okay. So the problem is, I think, when a lot of people get their news, or they're reading news stories, or they're listening even to people like me, right? If you copy everything that I say, you're guilty of this just as much as anybody that listens to Sargon of Akkad or anything JonTron has said or anything else, right? The problem you get is news stories are often written about these top layer ideas, right? These very top layer ideas. So what you get is, you get a lot of people, and I think this happened to JonTron, you get a lot of people that will regurgitate these top layer ideas, but they don't really understand what's going on down here. They haven't really thought these points through yet, right? So what happens is, you got your really good talking points, right? What are some really good talking points to the right? We've got virtue signaling, loser, cultural Marxism is bad, diversity is our strength, ha ha ha, immigration is ruining culture and society, right? The problem is that as soon as you start to tear apart some of these arguments and you force them to reconsider, what they're finding is that they're retreating into baser thoughts that they haven't actually thought about. And they don't actually understand, like, where they're headed, right? A lot of my arguments when you talk about like immigration or races, right? A lot of my arguments when I get into these with people, ultimately I'll end up asking the question this time with JonTron, well, what's your solution then, right? What is your solution? How do we fix this problem? If you think that black people are inherently violent people, how do we fix it? What's your solution? That's why I started. Do we kill them all or deport them? Like, what's your solution, dude? And the problem is that, well, he knows that white people are good, and he knows that like brown and black culture is bad, but he hasn't actually thought about these underlying things. Well, what are the implications of what we're saying? What we're actually saying is that black people need to be eradicated. We have to get rid of them. They're hurting society in every single conceivable way, right? JonTron himself said, even black people who are rich commit more crime than poor white people, right? So, like, these things have to be, these things are
oftentimes not thought about by people that are parroting these upper level talking points. So as soon as you start to peel these away, you find out that you're getting into like really shady, unexplored territory here that they haven't really explored on their own or haven't really thought about on their own. I think that's like a really big thing. I think that's a really big thing that goes into parroting a lot of opinions, and people on the left do it too. People on the left absolutely do it too. I don't deny that. So you get into these like where a lot of political discourse is literally, here's my top level memes that I picked out of an article, and I'm gonna throw these top level memes at your top level memes, and then we're just gonna talk past each other, right? So liberals are saying all of your thoughts are racist, all of you are Nazis, all of you are evil, and then conservatives are saying, oh well, all of you hate white people, all of you are virtue signaling cucks, all of you are cultural Marxists, whatever the fuck, right? And then you just get this weird world where you're not actually analyzing or talking about any real problems or any real causal things of these problems or any real solution to these problems. You're just talking past each other and not like really having any real discussion at all, You should look up white nationalist mantra or anti-racist is a code word for anti-white if you want to see the base level propaganda that JonTron fell victim to. So here's a problem that that everybody has, okay? I hate this. I hate this, okay? People, this is a general human phenomenon that exists probably ubiquitously throughout all of society. Maybe in some cultures it doesn't, but I've seen it everywhere I've ever been, and I see it all over the place. People have this intrinsic need that in order to build themselves up, they have to tear somebody else down. And everybody fucking does this, and it's disgusting, right? This is one of the biggest reasons why I advocate against joining circle jerks, all right? You get these people with these bloated sense of self-entitlement, and it happens with everything. PC Master Race does it, right? How many times do you go on PC? Listen, I love PC gaming, and it is the majority of... I fucking made my living playing games on PC, okay? I do this all the time, but I've never felt the need to shit on PlayStation owners. I don't feel the need to shit on Xbox owners or GameCube owners or whatever the new fucking Nintendo gadget, the Wii Universe, UE, XD, XL, Advance, or whatever, right? I don't find the need to shit on these people, right? Except for Smash fans, because it's fun to watch them get triggered. But like realistically, like it seems like most people aren't capable of liking something without tearing something else down. You see that happening like all the fucking time, right? Where people just can't like something without bullying somebody else for what they like, And I think that this has happened to some extent to white people a lot, right? Like. How many times, like, there's, like, the common joke where, like, like, you see, like, the black person is like, yay, black pride, and the Mexican is like, yay, Mexican pride, and the Indian or Native American is like, yay, American Indian pride or whatever, right? And then, white people are like, yay, like, white people pride. It's like, you racist fuck. Like, you can't be proud of your culture. And it's like, oh, okay. And you see that sometimes, like, I don't like that. I don't like when the left on Twitter and shit engages in, like, hashtag white genocide and hashtag fuck all white people and, hashtag white people can never experience racism or problems, hashtag white privilege, trumps everything. Like, okay, well, damn, dude. Like, if you spend if you have half of your platform is dedicated to shitting on white people, there's a good chance that a lot of these white people are gonna fucking turn against you, dude. Like, you can't base your ideology like this. Like, it doesn't work that way. You can't constantly attack people that you're trying to bring over into your camp, because all you're going to do is make them feel alienated, isolated, and then they're going to rebel against you by taking up the extremist opposite of whatever it is you're preaching, I think that to some extent, like, that's where you're starting to get a lot of these, like, white nationalists coming out. It's like, because to some extent you are kind of made to feel bad or guilty for being white, and it's like, well, damn, dude, like, that's probably not a very conductive way. Like, white people are fucking beautiful. The goal for black people and Mexicans and whatever isn't to tear white people down to their level. It's to bring everybody up to the level of white people, and then that's compounded by a million other problems too, Well, Destiny, after what all these white people did, I think some people are like, fuck it. Yeah, but you can't give up hope, dude. You gotta... Right, I'm a white dude, and I try to be a open-minded, liberal-leaning dude. How well versed are you on Keynesian economics? Not at all. Aren't Keynesian economics the idea that some degree of economic input will have like a multiplicative effect on economic output, on government input? Sorry. Right, like if government spends like $100 on a product, it'll create $200 of economic prosperity. Isn't that like the basic assumption? I don't know enough to debate specific forms of economics, dude. I can't do that here. Wow, Cataclysm, welcome to the Tier 1 Spell Your Name Wrong Club. He prefers Marxist economics. JonTron needs our support. He's being viciously attacked by the left for trying to red pill the gaming community. I officially added him to the support list on the right boycott. This brave motherfucker needs all the centipedes by his side. Damn.
I did not know rape were legal in the US, but I just saw you debating JonTron and holy crap, you murdered him and then raped him afterwards. When are you bringing back the Athene debates?
Never.
I need new fat material.
Never. Destiny came on stream with pre-written note cards. What? John has the right conclusions, but his arguments are weak and incoherent. That's not how conclusions work. Oh, man. Wait, what is this? Oh, no.
I knew exactly what would happen when
minutes.
I posted my previous audio blog. Didn't necessarily expect it to happen that fast, but then again, I should have known better. This is the internet after all. Amongst the morons that didn't listen to any part of the audio blog whatsoever and assumed it was a defense of JonTron, which it was not, we have the people that are attacking me because I didn't attack JonTron. Yeah, that sounds about right. What a wonderful little bit of proof positive of everything that I just said. Those that actually got to the end of my audio blog and understood that it was really about the effect of divisive media driving increasing tribalism online, which is making polite, reasonable discourse and understanding increasingly difficult, will also understand that the reaction to posting such a commentary is proof positive that the commentary was needed. Somewhat Kafka-esque, you might think, but predictable nonetheless. Here's a question for you. Why do you want me to condemn JonTron? What purpose would it serve? Assuming that I was not in a contract that had an anti-disparagement clause which specifically said that I'm not supposed to go and shit all over fellow network partners. Let's just assume that that doesn't exist for a second. Could I probably criticize him without violating that? Yeah, I imagine I could. But let's just ignore that that exists for a second and ask the question, what purpose would it serve? Why exactly do you want me to condemn him and his views? Why? What's the point? Is this a test? Are you testing my virtue? Are you saying that if I don't come out and condemn it, then I am complicit? Because that's bullshit. Are you saying that if I don't come out and condemn those views, then I must obviously also hold them? Because that's bullshit. Are you saying that it's somehow my job or my duty to come out and condemn those views? Is it my responsibility to do so? That's bullshit. That's not my job. My job's to make video game videos on YouTube. Simple as that. If I choose to come out and say something that has nothing to do with that, then that's entirely of my own volition. It has nothing to do whatsoever with being pressured by random people on the internet. It has nothing to do with being bullied into doing so. Because let's be honest, that's what people are trying to do. They're trying to bully people into joining their little witch hunt. Because it feels pretty good to be part of a mob, doesn't it? Feels pretty good to feel like you're on the right side of history. Let's go burn the witch. Oh yes. What a new and interesting idea that is. Good job there's no historical basis for that resulting in absolutely awful things. Oh, God. Let's be crystal clear about how I see this and many other instances like this. Attempts to drag other people in the industry into the conversation, as it were. Attempts to get network partners to disparage other members of their network, their colleagues, has nothing to do with what's right or wrong. It has nothing to do with justice. It has nothing to do...
Alright, I don't necessarily disagree with this. I don't like witch hunting people. Alright, I'm gonna go get food, and then I'm gonna come back and we'll play Don't Starve Together. We're done doing politics and all these fucking discussions on stream.